On target 1, Italy. Marco Bruno. Ferdinand. Luca Giordano. On target 2, Greece. Dimitrios Kostiotis. Stadios Kostopoulos. And Stavros Kubertus. Your line judge for this match is David Ostres.
So here we go. Italy versus Greece for the compound men's team gold medal. Italy lining up with Marco Bruno, Elia Freinan and Micha Giordano. And of course, you've got to love a Greek name. The Greek team line up with Konstantinos Drakiotis, Athanasios Kostopoulos and Stavros Koumatas.
I might have some trouble with those names.
Greece will begin this gold medal match in the compound men's team competition.
Nine.
Koumatas starting with a 9.
Nine. Nine, maybe 10.
Oh, my apologies, that was Italy starting with the 2 9s and a 10.
So far, most of the arrows have gone a bit to the right, I would say.
That one's gone very right.
So I think there might be a bit of a difference between the practice field and the actual competition venue.
Nine. Nine, maybe 10.
Kostopoulos looks like he may have cut the line there. Oh, nice shot from Freinan.
Very close to his first arrow, but this one is within the 10 ring rather than just out. I'm sure he'll give his sight a couple clicks, and then he should be good after that.
Nine. Ten.
There was a big swing of his left arm, and you could see he was frustrated by where that shot broke. I think his sight was just on the right of the target, or on the right side somewhere. And he tried to correct it, but it's very difficult to do that with a compound bow where the arrow leaves that fast.
Right on time as well. Got it out in time. But provisional 54 for Drakiotis, Kostopoulos and Koumertis from Greece. It looks like a 56 from Italy. The third arrow is marked for a measure for both teams. Did you see anything in particular that you would change in terms of the score there, Chef?
I think the Italian arrow has less of a chance to hit the line than the Greek arrow in this case, but I don't know if I would be confident to call it out like that if I were the judge from this vantage point. So it's good that there's a judge there, a target judge, who has a way better view than we do.
And that is what we have to wait for. Greek team keeping their spirits high.
We've seen in the last match that it's very possible to have a bit of a comeback at the end of the match. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned right at the beginning, Chef, that you felt there was probably some difference between the conditions on the practice range compared to the finals range in this little bowl here.
Yeah.
Do you think the teams would have adjusted by this point?
I think they should have. I think right now this is also a bit of a game of communication between the members of the team, but also people from the outside. So what you can do in a situation like this is that somebody who is not shooting at this stage, he goes and looks at the practice range and sees where people are hitting. And then when that particular team goes to the finals venue, you can say like, oh, seems like they're all hitting a little bit to the right, or before they go on, they adjust their sight a bit. So you can have a little bit of a spy walking around and see if teams adjust to the situation, or and if they do, how they adjust to the situation. So there's there's a little bit more to the game than meets the eye.
Leave no stone unturned, I think is what you're saying.
Yep.
Greece trailing by 3, it turns out. That arrow was marked down in the first end.
Again, almost in the same hole as before.
Well, you're right, Chef. It's it was provisionally it was marked as a 53, but when the scores got confirmed just at the start of this second end, that arrow was marked up. So an 8 and a 9. Talked about adjusting to the conditions, but they still seem to be drifting off to one side.
Yeah, and it looks like the flags are picking up some more wind now as well. And I don't think you can really notice it on the line because they're so sheltered behind that building. But if you look at the back of the field and at the windsock and the little flags, you can definitely see that there is a drift from left to right. And I think it's difficult for the archers to anticipate on it because you don't feel how much it is. You can only go by the flags.
Yeah, that's a good point. If we get a look down the range, or when we get a chance to have a look down the range, you're right, Chef. That building blocks out what the first 25, 30 meters, and then when the building stops, there's a space for the wind to blow.
And
Italy,
I think the difference right now between the teams is you can see that Italy is actively communicating about, okay, I aimed off here, or I didn't aim off, but I feel like my arrow hit there, or Whereas Greece, they shoot their arrows and then it's relatively quiet behind the line.
9.
So that's where in this team format you need to be able to rely on each other and rely on the information you gather by yourself and by just looking at the people around you. See, so he shoots a 9 on the right again, and then he just walks off the line, and then there is no talking, no communication. They might be doing that on purpose, not to give anything away, but I think they might do better if they communicate a little better about where they are aiming.
10.
Right on the buzzer again.
It looks like on the line there's next to no wind, so they can at least just aim in the spot that they want to aim without being blown around too much. So that's good. But it is also deceiving because you can see that the first arrow went to the right again and he was a bit surprised by it. And I think the surprise was mostly that the flags were they were lying down again. They weren't blowing around so much. So he was like, oh, now it's fine to hit the middle or shoot in the middle. But then there is more of a drift that you can see with the naked eye. So that's one of the difficult things about archery, and especially if it's really windy, you can see it and you can feel it. But if there's like a little drift, it can just catch you off guard, and it can just be enough to not hit the middle, but you can shoot a couple 9s, and the other team might just hit a couple 10s, and the match is on again.
Yeah, I mean the Italians have only put it in the yellow at the moment. Italy have had 3 8s. Sorry, Greece have had 3 8s through the match. They'll need to up that game as the women's team from Italy looking on. Tonioli, Rhett and Natale claiming the silver in the compound women's team competition, looking on at Freinan, Bruno and Godano.
Yeah, and even that might be an advantage because the women's team has already shot. They know what the conditions are like, and they might be communicating with their male counterparts and see, hey, how is the wind and what should I do with it? And so I think they might have an advantage there. It might have a little bit of an edge.
Those spies you were talking about.
Yeah.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, these were, yeah.
Athanasios Kostopoulos ready to step up to the shooting line. Greece trailing by 4 at the halfway stage of this gold medal match.
So Athanasios has only hit on the right so far, I think. So this might be a good moment for him to either adjust his sight or adjust his aim.
Didn't look happy with that, did he?
No. I think he knew that was going to go low, but he's still on the right. And he is adjusting his sight, but yeah, well, clearly not enough. It's one of those difficult things where you don't want to move your sight too much, because then you'll just miss on the other side. But it's a bit of an irrational thing to not do, because you need to adjust your sight enough as well. And So there's always this dilemma, like how much do I actually move my side before it's too much? And you can calculate it, but it's not really quick math on the go. Um,
9.
what I would advise people to do is to just see what happens if I move my side 5 full turns. How far does that actually move me on the target, just in a training setting? And then, you know, divide it by 5, and you know what 1 full turn does to your side setting. It's a really easy way to figure out how much you should move your side, because it's often way more than you think.
Big opportunity here for Marco Bruno to extend the lead. Solid. Well, you can see the gap. 3 arrows left in this end for both teams.
So this is what Greece needs to do, and then they need to hope for some sort of miracle from the Italian side.
It's tricky, isn't it, when you're in a position where you're looking for a mistake from the other team?
Yeah, it's not the place you want to be in a match, but sometimes you can't help but have those thoughts.
Great finish, right on the buzzer again. The Greek team using all of their 60 seconds in that final rotation. 120 seconds in total, effectively two rotations of 20 seconds per archer. But a reset here. What's going on here, Chef?
Seems like a faulty timing system.
So right on cue, when I was talking about the time, the timing system failing on the Italians.
Do you have a voodoo clock standing on your desk?
If only, if only.
So I think I overheard the judge say the clock has broken down. So I think we'll wait until that's resolved, and then Italy can see how much they can either keep their lead or extend their lead going into the last end.
Yeah, I mean, it could be punishing, couldn't it? Oh, there's the reset from Elia Freinan. The judge stepping up to the line saying, well, hold on a minute, we just need to get that clock sorted out. So it gives me an opportunity, Chef, to ask the question that I've been thinking about throughout this match. Greece, not a team we see very often at the latter stages of archery tournaments.
They did well this tournament. They beat Austria with Nico Wiener in the team. They beat Ireland, which is in compound not necessarily the highest ranked team ever, but yeah, they've done some nice matches to get to this place. They beat a very promising team from Israel to get here. Israel went on to win bronze, so yeah, I think this tournament has turned out really well for them.
Something to build on for the Greek team. They're guaranteed at least silver, and the way things stand at the moment, halfway through this third end, it's likely that they will be walking away with silver from this Grand Prix in Lilleshall. Looks like the clock has been fixed, and Freinan up on the shooting line.
So 2 10s will give them a 7-point lead at this point. And and then another 6 arrows to go after that. So you have to kind of, when you're Greece at this point, or if you're Greece, you have to hope that Italy starts missing every arrow or missing big on an arrow, and then you have to be on point yourself. It's not impossible. It can happen, but something needs to happen. Something needs to change in the order of things right now if Greece wants to still be in this match.
Well, I think you've got that fortune-telling globe on your desk, Chef. It is a 7-point lead for the Italian team. 172 plays 165. Obviously subject to confirmation from the target judge. But Italy looking very strong. You talked about Greece being strong through the competition. Italy had a bye as #1 seed, shooting a 20 and 90 in the ranking round of 72 arrows from each of the archers. They got a bye through the first knockout phase, beat Sweden and then Great Britain. Solid score against Great Britain as well. 230 plays 220.
Yeah, and Greece had the second highest score in the semifinals with 222. So I think the conditions were also not the greatest, which puts that 230 in an even different perspective.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of a pause during end number 3, as Freynan had to come back off the shooting line with a stopped clock. Didn't really affect the Italians too much, shooting a 9 and 2 10s to hold a 7-point lead going into the final end. And as we said earlier, Greece now, 2 things in mind for them. Shoot the best arrows you possibly can, but also they've got to combine that with hoping that the Italians make a mistake. Fourth and final end of this gold medal match in the compound men's team competition. Greece trailing by 7. Shoot first, and it's Athanasios Kostopoulos on the shooting line.
So yeah, all Greece can do right now is put pressure on Italy, but it's very difficult to put pressure on a team that is leading by 7 points with 6 arrows to go, because most compound archers at this level know how to shoot an arrow in the gold without a lot of trouble, and if they just keep it in the gold, they're golden. So I think this is going to be a tough task for Greece, but you never know. Still hanging out on the right a bit. You can see the groups on the targets have also just shifted to the right, or they have been on the right, and they are having difficulty moving them over to the middle or to the left. So Italy is comfortably just steaming on and doing their thing. Seems like they're not really in trouble, and they don't feel like they're in trouble. They're still leading by 7 with 3 arrows to go. So unless anything major happens, this should be in the bag. A little bit of a body English there to get that to hit the middle, but it's unfortunately just out, so he only gets awarded 9 points for that one. All Italy needs here is 1 8 and 2 7s, or 2 10s and a 5. They can be creative about it, but I suspect they will want to go the non-creative route and just shoot them in the middle.
Nine.
So this arrow needs to hit the target, and that will be enough to get the gold medal. And that it did. So 229 plays 221 for Greece. So Italy takes away the gold medal in the European Grand Prix in Lilleshall 2023.